And let's go through here. We're talking creating cold email templates, developing a follow-up sequence, email tracking and analytics, and A/B testing strategies. We will stop in like 15-minute increments so that you can ask any questions you have because you probably will have questions on this topic. It is a little bit advanced, but this is probably my favorite topic to discuss aside from website copy because I love the process of website copy. But as a freelance writer, this is one of the best type of retainers or contracts that you can get into because it doesn't require you to be on social media all the time and it drives direct revenue to a business. So when we're thinking of email marketing, you're obviously thinking of you open up your email inbox and you have someone that's in your inbox, and it could be your favorite business owner, like a company such as Curl Mix with natural hair products, or even a different business coach, a finance consultant, someone like that that could be giving you weekly tips. Okay. And so the whole goal of them having that email newsletter where they send weekly tips is that they're hoping eventually you're going to buy. And this is where, as the email copywriter, you can come in and change that hopefully to I can help you guarantee these results because we can trace the amount of clicks that you get per email. This is also super relevant to education consulting and education companies. I actually want to tell you a story. I was working with a company called Clever Education Technology. And so they have these offers that are for mostly district to district, but then like school to teacher, school to parent. Okay. And so it's like a single sign-on system. It's something like Power School, if you've heard of that. It's technology for the classroom, essentially, where students can log into the portal. But guess what? This company, they had a large email service provider and they had a list of 3 million people. And so they needed a copywriter to come in and assist the marketing team to deploy all of those campaigns to 3 million different people. I know that sounds like a whole lot, and it really was. It was a little bit of a stretch at first. But as a copywriter, I want you to get in the mindset of being able to write a lot of copy that's high quality in a short amount of time. That's going to give you an unfair advantage as a copywriter, okay? But in order to find those clients, you're going to have to first master email marketing from the cold pitching standpoint. Now, when I say cold pitching, this is similar to like if you hear people talk about cold calling, like let's say somebody is a new business and they don't have any contacts yet. And so they have to manually go through and think about the old days when people would use like the yellow pages, right? They would manually go through, dial these numbers and say, hey, so and so, would you like to hear about X, Y, and Z? Hang up. Hey, so and so, would you like to hear about X, Y, and Z? Hang up. Hey, so and so, would you like to hear about X, Y, and Z? And hang up. Cold emailing is sort of the same way, but via email, where you're introducing yourself to a contact in education, in a school district somewhere, whoever your target audience is. But the way to personalize it is for you to first, and we're going to actually do this together, but this is just like a overall breakdown. You're going to personalize it by saying, hey, so and so, I saw this on your LinkedIn. Excuse me. I saw this on your LinkedIn page. I noticed you went to school in this place, or I noticed you are interested in this specific, whatever relatability factor that you can use. Articulate that. And then you're going to get into the results that you have proven and provided for past clients, or the types of jobs you've had, or the type of portfolio you're working up to. That is cold pitching, meaning you do not know who that person is. They're not on your email list, but you probably find them through LinkedIn and you connect with them and you can send them a LinkedIn message and they're going to respond or they're going to choose not to respond. The thing about cold email that's definitely a weakness and will not be your favorite thing about cold emailing is that it's really a numbers game. It takes a lot of emailing people. And so what I would do, I would say, and it's a little bit easier now since you can just literally draft up 50 companies that are in education that you could use, and you could reach out to all those companies. But it used to be difficult 9 years ago or so. You would have to manually go through Google, find a list of said companies, and then try to find those specific contacts. With both AI brainstorming and then with LinkedIn, you don't have to do too much work the way you used to. It used to be so hard to find those company emails, to find who the person was. Now with LinkedIn, you can pretty much find anyone at any company. But I want to point out who you're going to be targeting in cold emails. So with cold emailing, you're going to target typically a marketing director. Okay. It could be somebody in sales, but 9 times out of 10, as a copywriter, as a freelance writer, you're going to be sitting under the marketing director, the growth marketing manager. You hear that term in education a lot, growth marketing or growth manager. It could be the head of product. And product is just like product marketing, like what it takes to write the details for that product. Some title along those lines. That's going to be the person that you need to get in contact with. You need to speak to this person so that they can tell you what writing projects they have available. So that could be blogs, that could be social media, that could be like TikTok captions, like we were talking about. There are so many different types of writing opportunities. And in your beginning phase, it's really important that you're flexible. So it's good that you're niche down in education, but don't niche down according to email marketing, social media marketing, or website copy just yet. Niche down according to the industry, education. And then you want to pitch yourself and connect with these marketing directors, the growth marketing manager, or the head of product in some of these education companies. Now, the way you're going to do this, again, you are going to compile a list of 100 contacts, and you don't have to do this all at one time. I like to actually do this in phases. If I know I want to reach out to 50 marketing directors in the next month, then I'm going to divide that up by 4 and say, okay, I'm going to send 25 emails this week or 25 messages on LinkedIn. LinkedIn is the best route to go aside from email, okay? So compile 100 contacts from different education firms or schools. And then, like I said, you're going to introduce yourself to that person. And so I'm going to do like a short intro. It's going to be a demo template that you can use. So, hi, X, Y, and Z, whatever their name is. We're going to pretend this person, let's call them Stacy. Let's say, let's say Stacy is the head of a charter school. Actually, no, let's say private school. They may have a better budget. Private school in Michigan. She's the head of marketing or director of communications. It could even be a term like that. We'll add that one as well. And so what you would say to Stacy, you would introduce yourself. Hi, Stacy. My name is, enter your name. And I noticed on your LinkedIn profile, you are interested or accomplished. And it can be the actual person that accomplished it, or it can be the company that they work at. Either one, but you do want to build that relatability factor up front. I noticed that you are interested in or accomplished X, Y, and Z that you would have found on their LinkedIn page. And I couldn't help but notice you guys have a blog. I was wondering if my portfolio and background would be of any assistance to you. Here's the link to my website. Should you guys be interested in furthering your school, summer camps, and enrollment in time for fall. All right, so then you're going to sign off with your sign off, and hopefully you would be saying, first name, last name, founder of so and so, or just drop your website. Super simple, straight to the point. With these cold pitches, you don't want them to be too wordy. You want them to be simple so that somebody can make a buying decision. You got to think these people probably get a lot of pitches from different people. They may be freelance writers, they may be PR, they may be whoever they have to talk to in their day-to-day life, in their job or their role. So you definitely want to come across as somebody that's providing some type of advantage. And for the subject line, I would write something like, I'm gonna write a few subject lines that you can choose from. Quick question. You don't want to be too salesy with these subject lines. Because obviously if it's too salesy, if you're writing and you're like freelance writer for hire, they're probably not going to open, right? They're not going to be really intrigued by that unless they're in the more stage of the buyer's journey where they're like actively looking for freelance writers. That may happen rarely, but most of the time you just want to keep it safe and use a subject line like quick question or hey, I saw X, Y, and Z about you on LinkedIn. So another one could be, I noticed your company on LinkedIn and fill in the blank. But the goal is that you want to use different subject lines when you're sending to all of these different companies. So you can just watch and see what works. Let's see, what could another one be? Anytime I'm using email copywriting, I'm always looking to provoke curiosity with subject lines. Because that's going to increase the open rates that you get for yourself and your clients if you are provoking that curiosity. So, quick question, obviously, they're going to be like, okay, what's the question? I noticed your company on LinkedIn, and they're going to be like, okay, I should probably open this because I work for so and so, and it may be something they need to hear. Or you could just use their first name. That one works good as well. And you can use that as your cold pitch subject line. Again, cold pitch meaning you've never met this person, they've never met you. You're not calling them on the phone, you're sending them an email. This is email one, right? But here's the thing with cold pitching that a lot of people don't understand. You don't just stop at one message. So let's put number one. This is email one. That's what we're going to put here. But typically, when we're talking about sales cycles, freelance writing is all about sales, not just for your business, but for your clients as well. When we're dealing with sales, we have to also deal with follow-ups and coming back in their inbox and saying, hey, did you get to see this? So the subject lines I would use for email too, real simple. Did you see this message from last week? Because you got to think you typically you want to put a little bit of time between the first email. You don't want to email these people too often. They are professionals, they're busy, and that could be your opportunity to get to work with this person. So you don't want to be too pushy. Instead, you want to come across as someone that's super helpful, super professional, and courteous to that person who is reading the email. Okay, so we're gonna say wait 5 to 7 days before sending email. Two, again, this is all manual cold pitching. Before you even get to this point, you would have already written down 100 companies that could be school districts, private schools, NGOs, education technology firms. Let's see, you even have like a lot of like homeschool companies that develop curriculum. You have like math companies, flashcard companies, textbook companies. There's a lot of different routes that you can go within education. And so, again, down to email two, we just want to ask them, did they see this message? So, this is the subject line. Did you see this message from last week? Another one could be, I sent this email to you. Did you open it? Direct, straight to the point. Also, we're still provoking curiosity. Let's see, what would our third subject line for email two? We could use first name again. You missed this question mark, meaning I put the person's first name. Hey, I think you missed this. They're going to be like, what did I miss? A lot of times, especially when I was doing this in the beginning of my career, what would happen is when you send the follow-up, that's where most of your clients are actually going to want to work with you. Not after the first email, it'll be like the second or third email. One reason is because they forgot to even reply. Or number two, a lot of times these people have so many emails, they just legitimately didn't even see the first one. So imagine if you just don't send up that follow-up and you just disappear into the sea of forgotten emails, right? And it doesn't have to be like that. If you do decide to follow up, then you get more chances to talk to that person. The worst thing they can say is, no, I'm not interested right now. That's fine. As a business owner, as a freelancer, you want to get used to rejection. You want to have the mindset that every no is getting you closer to a yes. Get used to that. Don't let that stop you, and then say, okay, well, I'm going to email some more companies, or I'm going to message some more companies on LinkedIn and see if they need my services, or see if this blog would be of any interest to them. And eventually you're going to get someone that says yes. But let's say this third subject line. Oh no, we already did the third one. So now we're going to get into the body copy. We're going to say, hey, first name, hi. I sent an email to you. Give them the day of the week. Let's say Thursday, last week in the morning. I wanted to know if you got chance to read it yet. I'm thinking it could be helpful to your work at Interfirm Corporation. Have a great day. Super simple, right? And again, we are sending that after 5 to 7 days. So that is email two. You're going to also leave your website. You can reattach your portfolio if you want. But the whole goal of email two, again, we don't want them reading this for that long. We want them to take the action of, let me go back here and see that email one that they're talking about. That's the goal of email two. Now for email three, we're changing gears a bit. Email three, we would have sent them the portfolio or your website or your blog. So now we want to change it because typically by this time they would have seen that and they may not be interested in that particular blog or website link that you sent. So instead, now the subject line is going to change to being sales heavy and like follow up, to more along the lines of, I have this free resource, or you can leave the title of the free resource. Like if you just wrote a blog last week, 5 ways homeschool families are thriving in 2025. If you just wrote this blog, then you can actually send the name of the resource in the subject line and say something like, look at this. That way they're going to open if they're interested in it. And it's okay. That caveat if is okay. Don't be afraid of the if caveat because you do want them to take an interest in it and decide for themselves if they're interested. And so I'd say, hi again, first name so-and-so. You know, I published this article or free lead magnet. It could even be a social media post last week. Your firm came to mind, and I think you guys would find it helpful because X, Y, and Z. So they may find it helpful because, especially like this topic, it would be more along the lines of, I think you'd be interested in the way that I created the structure for this blog because I noticed that you guys blog on your website. Or I think you will find this blog helpful, especially if you are not using email marketing yet. I noticed since you guys are already blogging, did you know you can also use email copywriting to drive website traffic to your blog, right? We're going to say something along those lines that aligns with what already exists on their website or on their company page so that we can have that sensitivity to what they're actually doing. We don't want to come across as too random, and this can be time consuming, but it's much better to pitch in this way. You're going to have some marketing consultants that say, just send a bunch of mass pitches and don't personalize it. Even if you send less pitches, it's better to personalize each one. You're going to get better conversions that way. So you may send this one, and let's say it's too generic, versus you send one and you actually did the research and said, hey, I saw the most popular blog on your page, on your website last week was X, Y, and Z. Do you want to explore ways to expand it further with email marketing? Then they're going to be like, oh, this person actually pays attention to our business. They've done their research. They're calling me by name. So obviously they looked me up. Let me go and work with them. And then we're going to provide the resource. And we are going to clearly articulate the fact that we are open to getting on a call with them. Now, this is going to be more for session 2 of month 3, more of the like client onboarding type of stuff. But even before there was Acuity scheduling and Calendly, we would just go back and forth on Zoom and say, hey, I'll give you a call at your phone number, blah, 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 whatever their phone number is. You get on the call with the client, you guys talk, and you close the deal, right? And so we're going to say something like, if you're interested in seeing how we can partner to expand your blog, podcast, email newsletters, feel free to get in touch here. And then this can be to your website or to your scheduling link. Ideally, your website should directly have a link to book a call with you. So that's like the 3 emails that you can use for cold pitching. And let's stop right here. I want to know, do you have any questions about this part yet?
Can you hear me?
Now I can.
I was just trying to say that I don't have any questions so far. I'm going to put myself back on mute. Thank you so much for your time.
Yes, yes. Awesome. Let's keep going. So we covered cold pitching, and you have access to this wording in these templates. Now let's talk a little bit more about warm emails. So this was cold. Again, cold. I don't know the person. They don't know me. They haven't subscribed to anything on my email list. They literally have no idea who I am. Now I'm going to switch my screen to a email service provider for my freelance business. It's called ConvertKit, and I'm going to break down inbound email marketing for you because this is one of those tools that I wish I would have understood earlier on. I think back in 2018, maybe it wasn't as popular, or maybe it was like too advanced, whatever it was, but I didn't understand inbound email marketing. So I would spend a lot of my time sending these cold pitches to people, and it really is time consuming, and it doesn't necessarily build the business asset the way email marketing, like inbound attraction marketing, does. So let's stop this screen share and move to another screen that's going to have ConvertKit so that I can show you in real time what that looks like. Just a moment here and I will get it up. I have to go to Chrome. Oh yeah. Okay, we're going to switch over to Chrome. Okay. So after we do this part on the inbound email marketing, we'll also take a look at LinkedIn. So let me share again. All right, so now you're looking at my email service provider. It is ConvertKit. Now, we have all these contacts here. These are people that have subscribed to my email service provider, ConvertKit, and they want to sign up to learn more about what I do. Now, in ConvertKit, and I used to use one that was called MailChimp. I'll drop both of these in the chat so that you can check them out and download either one. But I used to use one that was called MailChimp. They increased their price, and then they also do not have the capabilities that ConvertKit has. So let me drop those in the chat. But they're both great for beginners. They're pretty simple to use. And so what I really like about this one is I can build out my landing pages. Let me show you here. So here in ConvertKit, again, this is an email service provider. This is a tech company. So anytime you hear the word, and I was so confused when I first heard this, software as a service or SaaS, this is what they're talking about, because you probably will see, especially when you start going on LinkedIn, you're going to see people like, oh, we're hiring for a SaaS writer. That's what they're talking about. It's going to be some type of software that they're hiring for. They usually have super large, wonderful budgets as well. That's just something to know about. So when you see that, they're talking about some type of technology, marketing software. It could be HR software, but the most common you're going to see is some type of marketing software. It can be an email service provider. It can be something like Buffer or Hootsuite, which is for scheduling social media campaigns. Those are all software as a service, because it's not technically a human providing the service. It is a piece of software like this, ConvertKit. So let's go to grow. This is where I can create landing pages. I have subscribers, the creator profile, recommendations, and landing pages. That's another awesome thing about ConvertKit that reminds me of WordPress.com. WordPress, when you publish your blog and your website on there, they allow you to almost get recommendations because they're publishing your content to all these people in the WordPress universe, essentially. Like all these people are logged in, signed up to WordPress. They're going to get an email notification that's separate from emails that you send that are auto-generated by WordPress, and they have the opportunity to subscribe to your blog. So that's how you can get a lot of traction pretty quickly. So let's go to landing pages and forms first. And you do want to write this vocabulary down, landing pages. A landing page, and we discussed this a little bit when we were doing website copy, but a landing page is almost like a website, but it functions to take people to your email list. So I'll show you my landing page soon. And so I created 21 content marketing strategies you should know about. And I've had this one for a very long time. Like I've had this for multiple years. It still gets people to sign up. It's a very simple landing page. You know, I am not a graphic designer, and so I don't worry about all the graphics. I really just worry about getting people to sign up. And so that is what we have going on here. New email series. Complimentary e-course. I didn't want to use the word free. That comes across as very cheap. I prefer to use the word complimentary. It's a little more sophisticated. Ready to scale your empire? Grab these 21 proving marketing strategies. Elite CEOs and industry leaders transform your marketing game with battle-tested strategies that brought in 2 million plus for my luxury and finance clients. Inside of this exclusive playbook, you'll discover high-ticket client acquisition, premium positioning tactics that command top dollar, sophisticated email sequences that convert affluent prospects, and is perfect for professional service providers, finance industry leaders, and luxury brand CEOs. Now, when you are first starting out, we had come up with some different topics. I think it was like it might have been 2 months ago when we were more in the website copy area of things. But we had come up with different topics that you can use. Even some of your blog titles can stay in your Google Google Drive. And when you're ready, you can use Canva to create ebooks with them. I'll show you that today as well, because those ebooks or these series that you do with your email service provider is going to be how you get contacts to subscribe to your email list. Okay. Email list. It's a super important business asset, even as a freelancer. And the beautiful thing about this as a freelancer is that you don't need tens and thousands of contacts. I literally have like 700 people on my email list and then 3,000 on my other email list on LinkedIn because LinkedIn has this newsletter feature. And so it doesn't take that many people to hit your income goals. You can make 70, 80, 100K, 200K per year as a freelancer by having the right people on your list. That goes back to what we were talking about with the minimum viable market. Like, what's the smallest demographic of the market that I need to make sales, especially when you're niche down? And so if you were to use this as a template, you would say like complimentary education series. It could be 3 days or it could be an ebook, whatever. You could name it something and say, are you ready to go deeper with the way that you educate your students? Are you ready to go deeper with the way that parents view your school district, right? Whatever their pain point is, that would be the hook. And then you would target that pain point to that specific person, whether it's the person that is trying to sell to districts, they're trying to sell some new curriculum to parents, whatever it is, you're going to use that storyline and provide a few points of credibility. Tell them what they're going to receive. We do not want to add too many bullet points. Like 3 is like a good number. You start getting into like 5 to 10 bullet points, people typically just aren't going to pay attention, right? Unless it's written very well in a sales page format and you infuse more storytelling. But if you just have like a big block of text here that's just like 20 bullet points, they're not going to read all those. And so then tell them who it's perfect for. Like in education, is it for principals? Is it for teachers? Is it for parents? Is it for education marketing directors? Who's it for? So that they can identify themselves and say, okay, yes, this is for me, or no, it's not for me. Enter your details below for instant access to these executive level strategies. The value is $97, but it's yours for free. So they enter their email address and then they enter their first name, boom, boom, boom. Sign up today. They get automated emails that I did not have to lift a finger to do. Like it's just all automated. I already set up an automation. So that's the landing page. Now, if you're wondering like, okay, girl, now how you set up the automation? Well, I'm gonna show you. So this was the landing page part of Grow. And then we can actually see our subscribers here, the Creator Hub, the recommendations, but we want to go to, not broadcast, this is sequences. Let's see. I think it's sequences. Every email service provider calls it something different. So we want to do the welcome sequence 6-day email course. So this is the same sequence I've been using for literally years. So I say welcome, and this is like 6 days. So I think it's about 6 to 7 emails that they get day after day. And I'm like, hey, I'm writing this to you because you've opted in to this ultra filled freebie, but let me tell you why I created this download. There's so much confusion. So you can see I go into storytelling essentially. I'm not speaking at the person. Email is the perfect place for freelance writers who love the writing aspect and not really like the popularity aspect that you see on social media. This is where we can thrive with our creativity and really get down to a storyline. And so I'm telling them, hey, this is why there's so much confusion in the marketing space right now about what you should do to market your business. There is no one size fits all strategy, but you need to understand your goals. I want to give you 21 different strategies that work for different businesses so you can understand which can potentially work for you so you can save time, generate more revenue, and find an enthused audience ready to buy from you. Okay. Now, I link them to something that's relevant, which is obviously my portfolio. That's super relevant as a freelance writer. You almost want to take this as a template. Like if you want to screenshot this or just like take a moment and write it down, because this is the perfect template for a freelancer. You as a freelancer, you're separate from any other business. You're separate from electricians, from plumbers, from any other service provider where they're going to use different credibility areas. Your biggest credibility asset is your portfolio. Not even just your website, but literally your website and your actual portfolio that we viewed a few weeks ago. Your portfolio has all of the blogs that you've written, the email copy you've written, the social media demo copy that you've written, okay? It's really focused on being client facing. That is the deal breaker, the make it or break it. They're not, especially as a freelance entrepreneur, they're not going to be interested necessarily in which degree you have or your work history. They want to see this portfolio. That's what they care about so that they can read and understand, okay, can I see them writing for my firm? Do I like the way that they write? Does this sound like it's written by ChatGPT? I mean, and I've even had freelancers, new freelance writers will pitch me, and you can always tell the type of work that's going to be done by the portfolio. And here's an unfair advantage that you can have right away as a freelancer in 2025. If you just decide, I'm not going to have AI write my portfolio, you're going to be most of the people that are in our inboxes as CEOs of, how many years, because we get so many pitches from people and a lot of the content sounds so generic and you can almost tell people are using the same prompts but switching out different words, and everybody's stuff sounds the same, where it sounds like, you can tell this person doesn't really love writing, they're not really that creative, which is literally an allergy to a business owner. It is the worst thing for a successful entrepreneur. And this is why they'll just be left on red. For a successful entrepreneur, that is the worst thing. Like they know that is their business's allergy. They are allergic to boring copy because it's going to divert attention away from their business and basically give their audience into their competitors' hands. Because at the end of the day, you need to drive demand, and demand is simply attention. We have this term in corporate marketing that is like demand generation. Like, how can you drive demand? How can you pull attention to a specific business or product? And again, storytelling using emotions, provoking curiosity, and being authentic to whatever your industry is, standing on whatever your freelance business convictions are, right? Because I think we were talking a few weeks ago, you have your own convictions in the education industry, where you feel like, certain classrooms are not doing the best for the students or whatever it is. Be unafraid to articulate and talk about those things because that's going to be one of your unique selling propositions as a freelance writer to make you stand out. And so this is essentially the first email that they're getting. So I have a link to my website, a simple sign off, who I am, my name. P.S. Ready to schedule a consultation so you can win more freedom and make bank selling a high ticket service or course. Click here. So that provoked a little bit of curiosity, and then they can apply. So that's the first email that they get, and they get it 1 hour after they would have joined the sequence. So again, user experience. Think this person came across the landing page. For my landing page, they're typically going to find it on Instagram 9 times out of 10. Sometimes I'll share it on YouTube. I typically share this on Instagram, or I'm actually doing cold pitches on LinkedIn to send this to prospects. I should say warm pitches because a lot of times these are people that are in my network. So it's kind of like a warm pitch. It's not necessarily hot. They're kind of warm. And so that's email one. Now, email two, I have scheduled out after 1 day. Send this email after 1 day. Every sequence, and this is why you want to master email copywriting, especially these sequences. If you can learn to write sequences, this is why I say write it first for yourself. Even if you're like, I have no email subscribers, guess what? Write the sequence and start to try to attract that audience to your landing page. Because if you know how to write these sequences, you know how to install them, you're not going to be offset by the age of AI. If when you know how to do these advanced tactics as a freelance writer, it's like, yeah, we're going to put this person on retainer for multiple years because it's not something a lot of people know. It's super specialized, especially if you're only using one specific email service provider. maybe you get certified using that technology and you know everything about that specific email service provider, then you're going to stick out. Now, I didn't take that route, but you can take that route. I've used everything from like Active Campaign, Klaviyo for e-commerce, obviously ConvertKit. This is more for like creators and like smaller businesses. MailChimp is a little bit of both. You'll have some service providers, some bigger businesses. Braze with a company that I was telling you about that had like the 3 million contacts. So basically every email service provider out there. But test and see what works for you, because I know MailChimp has like a certification program where you can just be trained specifically in MailChimp, right? So this is email 2, and this is our subject line. I want to include their first name. Secret Instagram strategy, 21 marketing strategies for you. Instagram is your bread and butter for lead generation, demand generation, what we were talking about. Let's jump into these marketing strategies so you can obtain freedom, revenue on autopilot, and the credibility that you deserve. I know you're a service provider that loves all things Instagram, so today we're focusing on that platform first. So we get into the educational piece of it. You can just read that here real quick. And then eventually I also link them to an ebook that I wrote. And so I like to provide a lot of value. Yes, it does seem a lot of work to, okay, I got to set up this email sequence. Then I'm writing them an ebook that's just for them that I'm not putting in the public. But you want to go that extra mile before people even work with you so they feel more comfortable and secure buying from you, especially as a new freelance writer. So anytime you can provide that high quality white glove service online, you want to do that. And then we talk Instagram funnels. And a funnel is simply a sequence. Like we were talking about the upside down triangle, like going from unaware to problem aware to solution aware. That's what a funnel is. So it's the same thing, but we are reiterating it in a different way for different platforms. Right? And the whole goal with these lead magnets, they have to be super ultra valuable. The best way to do that is you want to talk about something that you have specifically done or something that you have been in proximity to that works in your industry. So for me, this is why Instagram blog email list was like the top one to choose, because that's the sales funnel that I typically use. So it's specific to me. So they're not going to see this anywhere else, most likely. They're not, unless this person is doing exactly what I do, they're probably not going to see this, because most people are going to say, drive traffic, from Facebook ads, and then you can get the Facebook ads back to having them book a call with you. Or you'll see a lot of people, a lot of freelance writers will just say like cold pitch, cold pitch. The issue that I ran into with cold pitching, not that cold pitching is bad, but you're going to learn after you get established, it's much easier for you to talk to a warm audience of people that have been following you for a little while versus you have to restart and introduce yourself to all of these people all the time. It is a little bit of a headache, but as a beginner, that's kind of what you have to do until you build those platforms up. But just be aware of that. I actually need to update this. I guess I haven't updated this since last year, but I'm linking them also. Whoops, I did not want to move that. I'm linking them also to my blog. You can see these real simple links, call to action, my 8-year-old entrepreneurship blog. We're including some statistics. I love including statistics. It really drives the point home. I can't tell you how many clients I've converted with this email sequence. I mean, I've had it installed since 2022. That just tells you like everything that I've been doing since then has mostly been due to this email sequence. So again, somebody will find me on either Instagram or YouTube. 9 times out of 10, it's going to be Instagram though. And then they're going to go through this sequence. So they're not immediately booking a call. They are running into this sequence first. Or if they do immediately book a call, they receive this sequence. They are following through with the call and not just showing up, or not just not showing up and being like, oh, I forgot, or oh, it wasn't important to me, because these emails provide a further level of customer service, okay? Customer service and education. So that's email 2. And we were talking about this is staggered by one day. Now, email 3. Again, I'm staggering this by 1 day. I'm the type of marketing specialist. I want to be top of mind. I want to come in their inbox once a day. Very consistent. Have you thought about YouTube and Instagram together? So that's the headline. You don't have to have 10K subscribers. I'm doing some myth busting. A lot of people think I have to have 10K subscribers or even 5K on YouTube for it to work. You don't need that. Video content is king over any other medium. And the cool thing about YouTube is it's a giant search engine, which means you can get organic traffic if you use something called SEO. Again, these business owners, they're not necessarily in marketing, so they don't really know that much about SEO. They probably heard of it, but they don't know how to get it to function for them. So I have a blog on it here. I gave them that blog. And so these are the different funnels they're using. They can go divert people from YouTube to Instagram to their email list, YouTube to Instagram to book a call, Instagram to YouTube. I see this sometimes as well. Like the link in somebody's bio will be from Instagram to get people to their YouTube and then to an email series, or Instagram to YouTube and then book a call from YouTube. So there's a lot of different ways to leverage that. Let's break these down. We're talking about all that educational good stuff, a little bit of storytelling, lots of personality, and really making this logical. Again, we are dealing as freelancers, we are dealing with people who are making logical decisions. These are people, they are spending marketing budgets that probably are not their own. Their marketing budget, unless we're talking directly to the CEO. But if you're talking to a marketing director, that budget isn't necessarily theirs, it's the company's budget, which means they're going to have to prove this to either a stakeholder or they're going to have to write down why they're spending this amount. Just think about those things on the back end and empathize with that fact when you're writing your copy so you understand like what they're going through and you can cater the messaging to that. And then I have stay connected on Instagram. This is what we call omni-channel marketing. Even though they're viewing this via email, I also want them to go and look at my Instagram. So that means since this automation is already installed, everybody that signs up, they get this. A few of them are going to click this and go visit my Instagram and go potentially look at my content over there. That's super important as a freelancer, especially in 2025. People need that omni-channel marketing, which is like multiple marketing standpoints to even be able to trust you in this economy and in this day and age. So then we have part four, and you can see it's basically, I'm changing it up. I'm using a case study in this one. This is what the welcome sequence looks like. You can tell this is not like generic AI written copy. This is super intentional. Very much I care about them seeing these case studies and breaking down the process and all of these things. Video has completely dominated the digital space, and if you're not using it correctly or at all, you're leaving thousands, even millions on the table. Don't be that person, okay? Look, I'm the biggest introverted entrepreneur out there, but once I hired my millionaire business coach, she made me make some tough decisions. It's as simple as, do you want to make video or do you want your business to be left behind? Those are your options. Now, I'm not saying you have to create videos 2 or 3 times a week. I found a way to make video work for me without all the hassle. Let me show you how to use video in your email marketing strategy, and then we'll get into that. So I'm breaking down, they could go from Facebook live video to email list to intro call. They could go from Instagram video to email list to intro call. They could do a pre-recorded video because this is different, obviously, than a live to email list to intro call. Or they could go from Reels to a longer Instagram video and say, let's say they do like a 1 minute Reels, which is essentially like a TikTok video. And so they would say, hey, I just created a longer video on X, Y, and Z. You should check it out if you're interested in X, Y, and Z. So that would divert to the longer Instagram video. In the longer Instagram video, they have a call to action to go to the email list. Or Reels, we were just talking about short content, talking about the blog. I've done this as a lot of times as well. That'll actually help drive that blog traffic, getting that social media traffic to the blog, then from blog to email list. When I'm going from blog to email list, my call to action will be download 21 client attraction marketing strategies, right? That's the call to action for them to be inside of this sequence. You can use that same idea for your freelance business. Then I get into some more educational stuff and give them some inspiration. So I'm giving them a little bit of strategy. As you can tell, by the time somebody finishes this sequence and they're a business owner that's successful, 9 times out of 10, they're going to want to work with me. And then they're seeing other case studies and direct link to schedule a call and talk to me. Okay. That's the main way people are going to want to do business with you as a freelancer. They're going to want to get on the phone with you after viewing your website, your emails, your blog. So that was one day. Part 5 is also one day. And then we're like, hey, you're finished. And so you can tell same type of thing, but different educational standpoints. So from blog to email to discovery, blog, Instagram, email, blog, LinkedIn. So I can divert my blog traffic to LinkedIn and then divert my LinkedIn traffic and say, hey, you can join my email list, or hey, 21 client attracting strategies is available for you at the link in bio or at the link in comment, or SEO, which is going to be the blog. Then direct the SEO keywords to a different blog on your website. Divert that different blog on your website to the email list, or blog, Facebook, email. So those are a few of the different funnels. And then I say, hey, you're finished. Bonus 3 magnetic email copy tips. Then I come in and give them some of these tips. And then call to action: want to chat about your marketing strategy? Let's revamp your marketing and generate more revenue. Tangible call to action. Their goal, especially when we're dealing with email copy and copywriting in general, the goal of copywriting is to get more revenue. And so that's already in their mindset. Anytime a business hires somebody in marketing or sales, the goal is always to generate revenue, not necessarily to get lots of clicks, lots of likes. The key metric that they really care about is revenue. So that's going to make them say, okay, let's explore and see if I believe that they're going to be able to generate me revenue or not. Any questions about this welcome series? I know that was a lot, and that's like new information to a lot of freelancers.
Hear me? I just want to say thank you so much. Have any questions?
Yes, yes, you're welcome. Awesome. Let's keep moving. Let's keep moving. So you can see here, it'll show like how many subscribers went through here recently. It says it's active. So this is the landing page, this orange icon, 21 content marketing strategies you should know about. That's the landing page that we just looked at a couple of minutes ago. Then this is the actual sequence. That's the end of the automation. So any emails they get apart from that is not connected to that automation. Instead, when I send other like daily emails, that's going to be a part of the broadcast and convert kit. But understand, if you use MailChimp, it'll say something like newsletters. Every email service provider is different, but if you just understand the pattern, like you have like sequences and automations, and then you have either newsletters or broadcast daily type of emails that you can use, then you're going to know the different terminology. Every single one is different. It's just like, what vocabulary are they using for that specific platform? Now, what I'm going to do, we're going to do an exercise, and I want to do it with similar to, it may have been the last call or the one before that. We were doing the copywriting exercise. I want to do the same one with one of these emails, but I'm going to choose one that performed the best because we can see these metrics. So here we have open rates. The open rate tells us how many people are opening these emails. So 25%, 22%, 23%. This is actually pretty good, pretty high. Industry average is 21%. Okay. This one is good for opens, 26%. They're really interested. But this one was fantastic for clicks. That was sent May 11th. That's one that I need to redo actually, because that click rate was really good. 14 clicks, 29% opens. That was probably like a plain text email. Current projects update. I definitely want to go to some of these older ones. I want to do one that's a little lengthy. Little lengthy. Now this one I actually wrote an ebook just for my email list. So this ebook was not available to the public. And so that's an extra way to delight your people. There's another ebook, The Ultimate Guide to Trust Signals, 1.9% clicks, 11 clicks, 32% opens. Let's do this. Let's do the Mad Libs one. Or maybe this one. Both of them are good. I like this subject line better though. Stop being your company's ER copywriter. I really like the spicy, like that's one of my brand guidelines, like spicy, straight to the point copy. Wearing too many hats in your business. Okay, yeah, we're gonna do this one. Now I want to elongate it so I can keep it on the screen. Or I may just put it in Notion so that you can have full access. I may do it like that. Let's put it over on the other screen because what I want you to do, I want you to actually copy this and write it out and then shift over and do like a mock exercise as if you were writing copy for your own business as a freelancer. So I'm going to switch screens and share it on the other screen because I think you're going to be able to see it better over there. Paste. So let's switch screens now and share again over in Safari. Fantastic. So similar when we were talking about like the website copy, I want you to take 15 minutes and rewrite this copy below. After that, draft your own email copy for your freelance writing business. Then you can read it to me and tell me how it goes. That way, copywriting really is, it's like a sport, essentially. Copywriting is like you have to just do it and get good at it. There is a lot of theory, but really the theory doesn't come to life until you start writing. So I'm going to give you 15 minutes to do that. I'm going to put this in color so you can see that better. It's maybe orange. Yeah. So you're going to handwrite this email copy, okay? Literally word for word. Then you're going to switch over and write your own copy for your specific business, okay? Any questions with that?
Have, will you just repeat the last thing you said? So basically the highlighted part, I'm going to, handwrite it according to, I guess, whatever educational goals I'm looking for. And then after that, I'm going to turn it into copy. Did I understand it correctly?
Yeah, good question. So you're going to copy this copy word for word to get down the pattern. After you're done copying this, then you're going to turn it into something that you would send to like a prospect that you're interested in, or you're going to pretend that somebody is on your email list and you are selling your educational writing services. So you're going to talk about that with them.
Thank you. So I'm going to repeat it just so I can make sure that I understand correctly. I'm going to handwrite what is highlighted, and then after that, I'm going to turn it into email copy according to like meaning trying to sell myself, like my services.
Yes, yes, indeed.
Very much. I apologize for all the questions. I just wanted to make sure I understood. Thank you very much.
Yeah, that's good, Tracy. No problem. I will mute myself and give you 15 minutes. It's 10:10, so about 10. Well, yours time zone is 2. Is it 2 or 3? So about 25
Two.
minutes after the hour. 2. Okay. All right, Tracy, how's it going?
You accurately, when you were speaking earlier, you said that like blogging, writing copy, stuff like that is more like a sport because, practice makes perfect. Kind of like if you're learning an instrument or whatever, practice really does make perfect. And I never thought that this would be easy, but this is just a different kind of challenging. This is yeah, this is a challenge, but it's all good because I know I can only get better the more I do it. Um, so I hand wrote, and I admit that took me a lot longer than I thought it would, but it's still good for me to do it. So I hand wrote it, and so I'm like maybe halfway done. I can read what I have, but
Yeah, yeah. Go ahead and read what you have.
um, one moment your student is an honor roll champion, the next you're wondering why their grades are dropping. I get it. And then my next line was probably going to be like, I was probably going to say something about myself. Like, I get it. I used to have learning challenges of my own. But then I figured, oh, wait, the next thing is like an introduction to like things that, your clients have said. So then I said, okay, I get it. Parents and students would routinely ask, and then I have like certain things where it says, what are the learning blocks? What techniques should I be implementing to challenge my child's learning? And then the last one is like, what else can I do to enrich, you know, um, their schooling? I mean, I would reword it, but it's kind of like that. So
Yes,
I don't.
yeah, that's a good start. That's great. Straight to the point, personality infused. That's good. You're on the right track.
I was just like, oh my gosh, like, because I was reading over it and I was like, of course, what you wrote sounds amazing. I'm just like, okay, like, but it's interesting. The more I did it, and I'm grateful that you had me use this as a template because it's originally I was like really not lost, but kind of overwhelmed because we've gone over a lot, and I'm grateful for that. I thank you so much for that. Um, and so when it comes to writing it out, it did give me, how can I explain it? I wasn't sure what I was going to say before I started physically handwriting, but once I started to physically handwrite and actually see what you've written, it's like my brain began to process it in terms of what I would say for my potential clients and to get potential clients. I don't know if that makes sense. I'm trying to make sense, but
Absolutely. Yeah, that's how it works for me too. Even like if I'm doing a copywriting project, one minute I'll be like, I don't have any new ideas. But the moment you start actually writing, like you said, the ideas start to flow.
so much for that. But yeah, like I look forward to this being more second nature. However, I do like the challenge of this being a new skill. I won't lie. Like I like that challenge. Like I appreciate that, you know. So thank you.
Well, that's good. That's good. Yeah. I mean, the first few years in business as a freelancer, like the first one or two, that's the real hump. But after that, it's pretty easy. Once you get that flow, it becomes second nature. It's like you just wake up and you start writing copy. Or maybe before you go to sleep, you've written some projects and it just flows so easily. But it's just that first 1 to 2 years where it's like, okay, let me get into the habit of writing copy. Let me learn the science and the art behind it. Let me get into the groove of marketing my business. But then after that, once you hit like year 5, you're like, okay, this is simple. I have this equity built up as a freelance entrepreneur, as a freelance writer. I know how to sign clients, I know how to handle projects, all the things.
Myself back on mute.
I can hear you now.
Oh, I was gonna say, I was gonna put myself back on mute. I just want to say thank you so much for everything. Unless the session is over, but I don't want to keep interrupting, so I apologize for that.
Yes, you're good. Yes, this session is over. Now, I do want you to continue doing the same homework we've discussed. Like, continue doing your blog writing portfolio, continue writing your website copy. And then it's also great if you would just, like you were just doing just now, create different templates for your own email copy. And then we can go over that during the next session, which will be in about 2 weeks. Any other questions from this session?
Oh, oh, okay, great. If I had to check to make sure I was not on mute.
Yes.
I don't I don't really have any real questions. I'm gonna definitely listen to the replay and I'll just wait for that. And then I'm just gonna go over my notes, and I think I'm gonna still like brainstorm about like finishing this email. Do you know what I mean? Meaning how I hand wrote what you wrote to use as a template. And I'm gonna like continue to brainstorm like, how I could, you know, like tailor it for what I would offer, like for, like my freelance services. And then just continue to just think of like company names and stuff like that. Cause I am having some, what's the term for it? I feel like I'm just a little nervous in using my actual name. I mean, I can get over that, but I realize that it's a good thing to use. I mean, I can see how it could be a benefit to use my name. And then I'm just like, so I think that's where I am. You know what I mean? Like but I mean, I
Yeah.
know that we can, I guess maybe email you or whatever. And once again, a good email would be like Tiffy G Writes at yahoo.com.
Yep, like Tiffy G and then writes as in WRITES at yahoo.com.
Rites at yahoo.com. I hope I didn't say something that was not correct when I had said your email out
Good.
loud. Yeah. Tiffy G, Tiffy Gwrites at yahoo.com.
Yes, indeed.
No, like I'm still thinking of company names. I've kind of settled on something, but I'm not sure. But more than likely, I may end up going towards just using my name or some variation of it. um, I guess I'm just kind of nervous. Like I want to make sure that I have good offerings and that I'm able to continue. You know what I mean? I guess I'm just really I have a lot of nervousness about like starting my own thing, even though like I'm into this. Like, like I have you as my writing coach. Like I'm looking into different things and stuff like that. So it's like it's gonna happen. But I'm just kind of nervous because it's new, like it's
Yeah.
different for me. So
It definitely is nerve-wracking. Like I was saying, even like for the first 1 to 2 years, it will be nerve-wracking until you really build up that equity and you're like, okay, I know what I'm doing. It's super easy now. But those first 2 years, it's like you just make yourself be uncomfortable and just make yourself hit publish, make yourself put yourself out there.
because I want to go back to be able to review all of the videos. Am I able to do that?
Yeah, absolutely. Just make sure
Wanted to
you
make
save them when you watch them. So like, I'll send this within 24 to 48 hours and then you just like if you could save it anywhere, maybe you could put it in a Google Doc or something like that.
sure, like passwords and stuff don't change, meaning from what you sent to me.
Right, that stays the same.
I hadn't chosen to save them. But then I was thinking, I was like, I really need like to, you know what I mean? Because this is me, this is my life going forward. Do you know what I mean? This is not
Yeah.
like, oh yeah, this was a good vacation. This was a great retreat. Thanks. It's just like, no,
Right.
this is this is my life going forward. And it's just like, you give such valuable information. I'm grateful. And like it'll help me to be able to review that. So I just want to take the time to say thank you so much for your patience and continue to work with me. I really appreciate it. I had dealt with and still dealing with like some different health issues. Like I've had different appointments and such,
Okay.
and I still have some more coming up. So I just want to say
Okay.
thanks for being able to thanks for accommodating me because like I really appreciate it. Like I'm getting better, but like I admit like I today I was kind of struggling and I was like I don't want to reschedule. I'm gonna just stick it out and put myself on mute. So if I have to cough or whatever, I'm just gonna go forward. And so like I'm trying to not sound like I'm like kind of not maybe feeling the best, but hopefully I don't sound too terrible. So I just appreciate your help and your accommodations and patience. So thank you.
You're welcome, Tracy. As always, I will be in your email inbox with the recording and some pointers for the next couple weeks as well.
Appreciate it. And I'm gonna get everything like together because I've got to write a blurb about the about page. I've got to choose a website name and company name. And then I've got to like update the Google Doc and I can get that to you. So thank you so much for everything. I really appreciate it.
Yes, you're so welcome. Have a great rest of your day. Definitely take it easy.
Bye bye.